Hi everyone, George here, and what I would like to present to you today is the 2025 Canadian federal tax changes. Now, they won't comprise of everything. It'll be virtually just highlights of the Canada income tax changes, personal income tax changes. They won't involve any corporate or trust changes. A brief mention of trust. And with no further ado, I'm going to close my video capture and we'll go through the changes that will affect mostly everyone, pursuant to the latest budget from the federal government. So, first and foremost, the middle class tax cut. So, the lowest federal tax rate will drop from 15 to 14% effective July 1st, 2025. For 2025 returns, the first half of the year was taxed at 15%, the second half at 14, for an effective blended rate of 14.5%. So if everything remains the same for 2026, you'll have a rate on the first bracket of income tax at 14%. According to the government documents, this will be an estimated savings of $420 per individual or $840 per couple annually. Um, have I done the actual math? Not really, but it's documented and it appears to be reasonable in the amount being estimated. Now, the increase to the basic personal amount, BPA for short, will rise from 15,705 to 16,129 in 2025, meaning once you get your tax forms um, or your um, tax software, you'll see that basically what the basic personal amount means is that on the first $16,129 that you earn, depending on how high your income is, if you're in a low to middle uh, class, the first 16,129 will not be taxed. For higher income earners, it will scale down to 14,538 for taxpayers in the top bracket. So, the top up tax credit for non refundable credits. So, basically, what the government has done is they reduced the first tax bracket to from 15 to 14%. In order to even out things, they did the same reduction for your basic non refundable tax credits. And your basic non refundable tax credits is basically, why did I use the basically word twice? Anyway, it's basically three times the first first bucket of income that you can earn before paying taxes, um, which we mentioned in the previous slide. Now, unfortunately, that really doesn't represent the the threshold for the poverty rate. That amount of money, that 16,000 or so that we mentioned in the previous slide, doesn't come close to being what the poverty rate is. So basically, you do have a certain amount of people that are working poor. And what the government has done in previous years and continues to do so is to supplement that income um, with the Canada Workers Benefit, providing you have working income or earned income. And if you don't, then you might be in a bit of a jam. So this will apply, this top up credit, it will apply from 2025 to 2030 tax years. And it basically restores the effective rate of your uh, non-refundable credits from 14 to back to 15%. However, in order to take advantage of that, you'll need a certain amount of income and you'll need a certain amount of credits in excess of your basic credit and the other non-refundable credits for your EI premiums and CPP contributions. You'll basically, when I've done a couple of calculations, you basically need, let's say, the disability tax credit, you need to have donations, and you need to have a large amount of medical in order to be able to or even tuitions in order to benefit from the top-up credit. Enhanced indexation brackets for RRSP and EI. All federal brackets have been indexed by 2.7% to offset inflation. Contribution limits rise for the RSP to 32,490, and EI maximum insurable earnings up to a slight rate decrease. And there's also a slight decrease in Quebec pension plan contributions. I don't yet have the details for that. And on this channel, I tend to do videos partially, just to touch base with people out there, uh, give some of my insights, and also it's worth mentioning, if I haven't mentioned it before, that I'm not a CPA. I started my tax career in 1991, self-learned, so you should not take this as an investment advice or tax advice, but you should consult a professional. Almost to the end of the presentation here. New refundable personal support worker tax credit introduces a 5% refundable tax credit on eligible PSW earnings, capped at $1,100 annually. Applies to personal support workers employed in qualifying regulated healthcare settings, effective from 2026 tax year, claimed when filing 2027. Other noteworthy measures: automatic tax filing for low-income individuals. CRA can file returns on behalf of eligible low-income taxpayers under the post-2025 budget proposals. Now, unfortunately, what that means is, at the end of the day, not everybody will qualify for automatic tax filing, even if they're low income. They have set certain measures in the budget whereby they will target individuals that haven't filed, for example. So it's still far from a fully automatic filing. And if you cannot afford to do your return, prepare your return, there is the CVITP volunteer tax program from the CRA that you should seek out in your local neighborhood. Call up the CRA and ask them where you can find the service. There are a lot of individuals that give tax clinics, especially universities. And for low-income individuals, there are a certain number of software companies, including UFile. We have a lot of free file offers where you can take advantage of them and do your tax return for free. So do not wait for the CRA to do it on your behalf. Do seek out a professional. See if there are volunteers out there that can help you. Delayed Bare Trust reporting. Now, that was a measure that was introduced last year, and the CRA did a 360 on that. And basically, what this measure entails, and it's pretty awkward, I find, and almost foolhardy to do. And it, based on what little I know, all it takes is perhaps a joint bank account, and you might be trapped into having to do a trust return. And trust returns are very expensive to complete because they need professionals with a certain skills. So fortunately for us, this has been delayed and deferred to 2026, easing an administrative burden for 2025, but hopefully it'll be eliminated outright. So folks, that is my short and brief tax update for 2025. Drinking some milk, wisdom juice, like I like to call it. Very nutritional, good for the brains, good for the bones. Um, do like and subscribe. Like I said before, I cannot promise you a weekly updated video. What I basically do here, the purpose of this channel is to get people acquainted with certain tax measures, personal tax measures, and perhaps do a tutorial here and there, very sporadically. But I do appreciate you liking and subscribing. And with that said, good luck for the 2026 tax season. Um, Study hard, read your tax rules, and do use a software that is reliable. As far as I know, UFile is reliable. And by the way, I do work for UFile. Take care.